You're on.
So that was wonderful.
Shannon.
And I feel very, very excited to be sharing the floor with all of you. And I think a lot of what I have to say is going to be similar to what we've heard here and similar to some of the comments that we've heard from Professor Moscanter as well as from Cheryl Dorsey. But I think I still want to share them because Donna said we should talk about what it is that we're passionate about. And so I'm going to talk to you about social entrepreneurship, which is something that I have been passionate about for the past 8 years since I learned what it was. And it's where I hold a lot of my hope for the future. As we've discussed today, when we think about the complexity of these problems, it's very, very easy to feel overwhelmed and to feel discouraged at the government and the difficulties that it has, the red tape, the entrenched social interests, the political stalemates. How are we going to solve all these problems? And so when I feel overwhelmed, I look at social entrepreneurs and I look at the solutions that they have showed us work. And this is really what gives me a lot of hope. So what I want to try to do with these few minutes is share with you a little bit about what this excitement is all about for me, and then talk a little bit about what I think government can do about that and how I think that they relate. So why social entrepreneurship? Why am I excited about it? I think that the first thing is that when you talk to a social entrepreneur, it's really amazing to see what a unique combination they bring to the table, where they combine a passion for service, for changing the world, for making the world a better place, with incredible rigor and focus on results. They want to measure the impact that they're having. They want to make sure they're actually achieving what they're setting out to achieve. They want to make sure that they're doing it in a cost-effective way, that they're managing their organizations the best that they can. And that is something it's really unique, and I find it very encouraging and very energizing. The second reason that I think it's so exciting is because the solutions that they're coming up with are very innovative, as we've talked about here, and they're also practical. They're on the ground, they're having an impact, and they're often bringing together ideas from different sectors. There's no one way. They're open to all sorts of different possibilities. And the third reason that it's exciting is because these ideas work at a local level, but they can also be taken to scale. So they really have the potential of impacting millions and millions of people and of changing the way the system works everywhere. So I'll just give one quick example that I really like, and you're probably familiar with it as well, but it's Mohammed Yunus and Grameen Bank. And this is the story of an economist who decided to leverage his expertise and a model that is traditionally for-profit, the idea of loans and banks, and using that to help people move out of poverty. And he has demonstrated, and he's done this with this model of microfinance, and he's demonstrated that this model works, and it worked in Bangladesh, increasing standard of living for people there, but it's also been replicated across the world, and it's had great results everywhere. And then there's a lot of energy, and there's been broad recognition of this idea. In 2006, Mohammed Yunus won the Nobel Peace Prize for his work in microfinance. And this is just one of the many examples of social entrepreneurs. We talked about Echo and Green, we've seen Teach for America, Year Up, many organizations, New Sector Alliance that I work with as well. This is really a movement. It's a movement of social entrepreneurship, and it's growing. And it's drawing talent from many, many different places. I myself came to the business school and to the Kennedy School because I wanted to be the most effective social entrepreneur that I could be. And along the way, I've met many other people who also have a similar passion. So given all of this, given this energy, what should the government do, and what can they do about it? So I think the most important thing is that, as we've talked before as well, I think that government needs to be first and foremost aware of the energy that exists on the ground with these social entrepreneurs. They also need to be aware of the quality of their solutions. These are things that are actually working. And I think they need to recognize that they are constrained and they might have limitations in how they respond to some of these problems. They might not be able to come up with the most innovative solutions. And therefore, I think they need to be willing and be ready to engage these social entrepreneurs in these areas. They need to shift their focus from being the providers of solutions and from being controlling the services to actually enabling and being a catalyst for change and being more of an investor. So I'll talk about two examples that are pretty concrete. One of them of how they can engage these social entrepreneurs. The first of them is to set up a network of funds that works with the social sector, with these social entrepreneurs, identifying these organizations that are being successful on the ground and funding them. And in this case, the government would be playing much more of an accountability role. The second idea is that of starting a commission on public and private partnerships. Basically, the idea would be that they would help think about how to develop and how to make the sector be a lot stronger. They would play the role that the Small Business Administration plays in the for-profit world that's so important. There's a coalition of about 60 social enterprises called America Forward, and they have put forth these ideas, developed them further, and other ideas into a very coherent, I think, very intelligent agenda for how the government and for how other sectors can engage social entrepreneurs and how they can all work together effectively. And I think the next president needs to pay very close attention to this. I think they need to focus on these recommendations, embrace them, and I think they need to embrace the sector more broadly. I personally know that I would be very proud to have a government that is listening to what's happening on the ground, that's embracing these changes, that's willing to step back from the areas where they're finding that they're not as effective, and they're willing to leverage the abundance of energy, of creativity, of innovation that exists and that social entrepreneurs are bringing to the table. Thank you.